The next installment. Next we're going to build the archway. So that's this right here. It's on your PDF drafting and it's on page 2. And again, you can zoom in to get a better look at it. But overall, it's an 11-foot wide opening, 9 inches deep. And we're going to go ahead and bake some of that. Our total wall length is 16 feet. So we're going to start making that. So I'm going to grab a rectangle tool. We're going to make something 16 feet long by 3 inches because we've been making all of our flats 3 inches wide. So 16 feet, comma, 3 inches. Now I didn't hit the 3. 16 feet, comma, 3 inches. There we go. No? Try again. Rectangle tool. 16 feet, comma, 3 inches. Enter. Yay! We've got a wall. So I'm going to grab the push-pull tool, and over here I can tell that my flat is 12 feet tall. So I'm going to pull that up 12 feet. Okay. And now the opening in that wall is 11 feet wide and 8 feet tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a square somewhere in the middle of this, and I'm going to make it 11 feet wide, comma, 8 feet tall, and then I'm going to grab the selection tool and double click on that. And when I double click on it, it's going to select it and its edges. I'm going to grab the move tool, and I'm going to grab the center pick point at the bottom, click on it, and drag and stick it to the center of the wall. This way I know that my opening is center. And grab the push-pull tool and go ahead and cut that out. Now, I'm also going to look at my drafting and see that there is an arch cut out of the top of this. And it does not look like I have a measurement for the top of that arch. And that's unfortunate. But I do know that the top of it is 1'3". So I know that it's 8 foot, 3 inches, and 1'3". So I can figure that out with our lovely friend math. So 12 out of 8 is 4 feet. So there's 4 feet out of that. Minus 1'3" is going to be 2'9" minus 3. So this is a 2'6" arch. So I'm going to take my tape measure tool and come up 3 inches. And then I'm going to come up 2'6". Okay, and I'm going to start with my arc tool, and I'm going to go ahead and just use inferencing for this. I'm going to pull up and click so that lines up. I'm going to zoom in over here, line it up here, pull up. I said line it up here. There we go. Pull up and click. And then I'm going to pull my center up until it touches that line. Boop. I'm going to grab my line tool, and I'm going to go from edge to edge so that closes and makes its own surface. I can see that it closes and makes its own surface with the push-pull tool. I'm going to go ahead and undo that line and show you that it wasn't closed before I did that. Go back to the line tool, make sure I get the end point, make sure I get the end point. Grab my push-pull tool with the P key and push on through to cut it out. So I've already got a very healthy looking arch here. Now we also have these little pillars which are the same height as the opening, and they're 9'3". So they start here, they're the same height as the opening, and they're 9 inches wide. So you see right there in my dimensions box that it's 8'3". I could easily just type 8'3", comma 9, grab my push-pull tool and pull it out the requisite amount. And that would be 4 inches. 4, enter. Okay. I could also grab my tape measure tool and pull it out 9 inches. And then when I grab my rectangle tool, I just have to click from corner to corner, push-pull tool, pull out 4 inches. I'm going to delete some of this excess lineage that I don't need right there and right there. I mean that one. If I delete that one, that's what I did before to make that mistake. But I'm going to delete that excess piece. I am also going to grab the push-pull tool, and I'm going to look at my drafting. And this goes in to that point. So it does still come in here. So I don't need to pull that out. But you see that there's an extra bit that goes back. And this is called a reveal. This is something we use in theater to make it look like the wall is thicker than it is. So this post is actually going to look like 4 feet plus 9 inches. So I'm going to go to the back. Okay. And I'm going to grab the offset tool, and I'm going to offset this line 1 inch. And I'm going to offset this line these lines. Oops. Okay. It's telling me that I have to select a single face or connected lines in order to use the offset tool. So I can't just offset one line, I guess. I'm going to do 1 inch there. And I'm going to need to connect this so that there is a completed surface that I can push-pull, this right here. Also, because I outlined one of the closed surfaces here, I need to delete that again. So I'm going to push-pull this out 9 inches. 9 inches. I'm going to do the same here, 9 inches. And now from the front, that looks like it's much thicker than it did before, but it doesn't actually have to be that thick. Now that doesn't matter as much for SketchUp because it doesn't really matter to us how thick this is. We can make it 20 feet thick, it doesn't cost us any more money. But when we're actually building this flat, it's good to be relatively accurate to how we're actually going to build it. Because if I hand this to my TD, he knows what he needs to do. I can also pull this down and make another piece right here, but it's likely the audience won't see that. So I could also not worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and delete my guides and save this as Archway so that I can later put it in my ground plan. And that's it for this build.